That you're looking back instead of at what's here.
Okay.
So look at what's actually here.
A feeling of embarrassment, fear.
Okay. Now, if you drop those labels that you're calling embarrassment and fear, see what's actually here.
When we hold one thought within,
It's dropping away.
Right.
all other thoughts keep dropping away. The thoughts of the day, what he did to me, or what she did, and what I should have done, and my speech wasn't well, and well, my boss gave me a raise, and so-and-so trying to take my job. All these things are going on the subconscious level. And as you hold to one thought, these subconscious thoughts quiet, they get still, they drop into the background. And that quiets the mind. Now, I think one of the most important things in quieting the mind in meditation is interest. When you're very interested in something, in getting an answer to a question, you'll override all other thoughts. So if with intensity we want to know, what is God? Who am I? What's this world? What's my relationship to it? Any of those questions, if there's a real burning desire to get the answer to it, and we hold that question with intensity, then all thoughts will drop away, and the mind becomes extremely concentrated. And then the answer shows itself. It comes from within. The answer is there all the time. The quieting of the thoughts allows us to see it, to see the answer that was there all the time in the realm.
You recognize that you just focused on what's here, and you realize there were sensations. And without the story, the sensations do the same thing. They just go like that, and they're gone. And it's not magical or mystical.
When that desire is intense, we get answers. See, that's why I
Do completely on your own. There's nothing, again, magical about this room. I
started thinking is what I thought it was.
It has to do with, again, recognizing what is.
Mine could be. But I was at the end of the line. They told me I was finished. I only had days to live and weeks.
Stories about these sensations, pictures, and sounds based on memory, and we give them all sorts of meaning and importance. And so what? Okay?
Okay.
Good.
First, I have a lot of anxiety now.
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, good, good. What's happened is before, you've been doing this with your emotions.
No, it's just because before I arrived here, I have expectation. I thought that I'm going to get enlightened after this class.
I thought it was nonsense for the weak-minded. People who believe fairy tales and things like that. But it was only because of the intensity of the desire to get the answer. I had to have the answers. That things began to come, and they came relatively quickly. Over a period of 3 months, I went from an extreme materialist to the opposite extreme. The material was nothingness, and only the spiritual was the all. But the wish to get the answer was so strong that in spite of that mind being one of the noisiest of minds, the answers began to come. And I automatically fell into things I knew no words for them, like samadhi. I would concentrate on something, I'd lose awareness of the world, I'd lose awareness of this body, then I would be just pure thought. The thought itself would be the only thing existing in this universe. That's absorption, when the meditator and the thing meditated upon becomes one. You lose consciousness of everything but that one thought. That's a very concentrated state of mind, and the answer is right there. Then another thought would come up. I first started on what is happiness? Well, what is life? What do I want? Happiness. What is happiness? And I saw happiness depended upon my capacity to love. First I thought it was I wanted to be loved. And I said, well, that wasn't it. And I saw it was my capacity to love that gave me happiness. And what is intelligence? And I'd hold to it and hold to it, and I'd see it. There's only one intelligence in the universe, and we all have direct line to it. And this went on in a matter of 3 months' time. I believe I saw the entire picture, went all the way. Only because of the concentrated approach. I know nothing about the subject, I know nothing about the direction, the way, the path. But I wanted to know, what is this world? Who am I? What's my relationship to it? What makes it tick? And then you see that the whole world is nothing but you. That there never was anything but you, all alone, because there's only one. But that isn't the final state. You come out of it and there's still a certain amount of mind left. So you go back into meditation until there is no more mind controlling you. When you've eliminated all the habits of thought, all the tendencies of mind, you're free, then you can use mind. And you are the master director of it. It no longer determines you, you determine it. See, now we're over 90% controlled by the unconscious mind. Yeah, well, the conscious mind is easily controlled. Subconscious is not, because it's a mechanism we set up of not looking at our thoughts, making them operate on automatic pilot. We did it to the entire body. It's all automatic now. And then we did it to all thoughts but the thought we are interested in at the moment. We don't want the thoughts in the first place, so we push them away. We are happiest when there are no thoughts. Sometimes when you work with your hands, you're occupied, you're very happy, right? Why? The thoughts are out of the way. Well, even subconsciously, it's quieter. So we really don't want thoughts. Thoughts are the things that make us unhappy. Even the happy thoughts make us unhappy. Because if we're going to enjoy something, then we're concerned about the possibility of maintaining this, which we know it's not going to last. So the thought of the pleasure at the same time invokes the experience of that it's not going to last. So even thoughts of happiness are limited, because the real happy state is the no-thought state. It's a state of omniscience. It's beyond thought. Now we start on meditation, and But meditation does seem to be a question in many people's minds who have meditated for years and years. And the best type of meditation is with question. When you just drop into a nice quiet state, without question, you get a good feeling, but no progress of getting the knowledge with a capital K. You're moving toward the quiet state. So if we want to take the shortcut, we start off with the question we finally have to answer. Who am I? I want to keep this with meditation now. So meditation should be with question for more rapid growth. So here's where the Jnanis get the advantage over the Bhaktis. This surrender and devotion throws us into nice feelings, and they're good. But a Jnani goes further. Says, all right, don't stop there, get the answer. It's only when we fully know who and what we are that we're at the end of the road. So the fastest and best way to meditate is to pose a question, get quiet until the answer shows itself, and go to the next one until all answers are there. I was very lucky that I knew nothing, because intellectual knowledge about the subject is an obstacle. The ego substitutes the intellectual knowledge for the real experiencing of it. I was very, very fortunate not to have had any knowledge of it. However, I prod you in this direction. Don't believe anything. Start from scratch. Build up your knowledge on a solid foundation of proof, step by step. Everyone must do this. And the only useful thing to us is that which we experience. I relate it to driving a car. If I say, I know how to drive a car, you turn the key on, you step on a clutch, you put it in gear and let the gas out, and gradually you, so forth and so on. I read that in a book. Now I get into a car. Can I drive a car? Not until I experience it can I drive it. The same thing on the path. We must experience everything. We must, of course, adopt the attitude that what these great ones are saying is so. They have experienced it. However, I must check it out and prove it for myself. And the basic truth is that there is only one reality. There's only one absolute truth. And that is that this whole world and universe is nothing but God, but better than that, is nothing but my very own self. See, God is far away. He can be miles and miles into cosmic space. But my very own self is right here. Is something I know about. Is something I can almost make concrete, my very own self. So, using self as God, I think it's far more practical than putting him out there, putting him apart from us. But each one must start from the bottom and prove this whole thing out to themselves. And as the proofs begin to come, the more they come, the more we accept what the great ones say, until we experience the whole thing. Every aid should be a means of quieting the mind. Now, if meditation is difficult, we can prepare the way by chanting. Chanting puts our minds on the chant itself, and the thoughts of the day drop away. That quiets the mind. Exercising the body, doing certain asanas and so forth, do the same thing. And anything that helps is good, whatever it is. But the basic thing is to quiet the mind. The mind is the only thing that keeps us from seeing our infinity. The mind is nothing but a collection of thoughts of limitation. And in meditation we try to quiet that mind so we can see this infinite being that we are. Meditation should never be passive. We should never try to force the mind to go blank. Meditation should always be with question, for the best meditation. The more we practice meditation, the easier it is to do. To get the real deep insights requires a certain momentum. When meditation gets to be more enjoyable than things of the world, then we go at it with vigor and enthusiasm and desire for it. And then we just can't wait till we get back to it each day. When we get that momentum going, the mind gets quieter and quieter until this infinite self is just glaring at us and we just laugh. So maybe with all this talk on meditation, you ought to try it. Okay? I have a lot of centers they concentrate on. The tip of their nose, the navel. The best place is up here, between the eyebrows. Concentrating here takes your mind off other parts of the body, besides it being the center for the third eye, the astral eye, the spiritual eye. It pulls us away from the lower centers of the body when we come up here. So if I were to recommend a spot, but anything that helps, helps. The heart's a good place because it is a center of feeling, and feeling is closer to the self than thought. It depends on your background. If you're a Vaicharajnani, it'll be the heart, but not on the left side, on the right side. If if you're a yogi, it'd be either the navel or the tip of the nose or up here. And the place you'll like is the place you had been using in prior lives. Now, when I did my concentrating, it wasn't in any location. It was wanting to have the answer. That's what I concentrated on.
Every thought has to have desire behind it. Otherwise, you wouldn't think. Isn't that so? So there's more than one desire. So the only thing you eliminate is desire itself. Not desire for this thing, desire for that thing. You have billions of desires to eliminate. It would take more than forever. But eliminate desire, and you're finished. Nothing else to do. I'll probably break the triangle down into more. I think I'll start with desire in the top and then come down to two. Attachments, aversion, and break that down into probably emotions, and tendencies, and thoughts at the bottom. Growth is so simple. There's nothing complicated about it. It's getting rid of these thoughts that culminate in tendencies, that culminate in emotions, that culminates in desire. Run them out and you're totally free. That's all you have to do. Run out desire itself. Think on that. Desire breaks down to attachments and aversions. If you have desire, who has it? You have. If you have it, you cannot have it. Unless you want to hold on to it, then you can have it. Actually, it has you. No, you have it. Control is a desire. Everyone desires to control every other one. Run out desire and you run out wish to control. Desires, tendencies, thoughts are all the effect of the ego. Knock them out and you knock out the ego. Vichara looks different to me now than the way it used to. Like I used to give it to you like Bhagavan. Just discover what you are. I can see now that it's more than that. It's knocking out what you're not. That is growth. Because you people can get into a high state and stay there, and you don't knock out what you're not. So in Vichara, when you see what you are, you must knock out what you're not. And if you're white, you're not black. If you're cold, you're not hot. So when you see what you are in Vichara, you're not the opposite. And you knock out the opposite. And even in Vichara, that's the growth, knocking out what you are not. Possible to see yourself and move away from the mind. You just submerge the mind. That's not growth. I think you've all had sights of the self. Why don't you remain that way? Because you submerged the mind, you put it aside for the time being, and felt great. And after a while, the mind re-emerges and you don't feel great. So in Vichara, you've got to will out what you are not when you see what you are. When you see you're unlimited, you know you're not that limited body, and you've got to knock out identification with that limited body. So again, the growth is willing out what you are not, even in Vichara. But you see, Bhagavan doesn't emphasize that, does he? I don't think I used to either in the early days, did I? Because it's so automatic. If you see you're unlimited, how can you see that you're limited? It's the way it seems to you when you're there.